you once again for joining on the call today. Our very first speaker would be Ndubuisi. And so I'll just take a bit on his bio. I'll just speak a bit on his bio a bit, and we will dive right in to it. So let's get to meet Mr. Ndubuisi Ukwadinachi. So first off, he's a believer. He's a member of the Believers Love Ward, which is also known as Christ Embassy. Professionally, he is a senior database administrator with over a decade years of experience spanning across different industries, starting out from banking and telecommunications. And so his expertise lies in managing and optimizing complex database systems. His career highlights include serving as a senior database administrator at Go PLC. And so there are so many things about him, and I would like him to just touch a bit about that even as we start out the conversation. Hello, Mr. Ndubuisi, how are you doing this evening?
Thank you very much, Amaya. Very well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good to know that you're doing very well. Thank you for choosing and deciding to do this with us today. I'm just going to run through a couple of questions for you, and I believe these are questions that our audience would really like to know more as regards navigating the future of work, right? So my first question to you is, given your experience within the IT space, the dynamics of your experience within the IT space, what would you say is the importance of like continuous learning within, to be able to be relevant within your career? Taking the context from your experience as an IT, professional with over a decade of experience.
Thank you very much for the question. So the importance of continuous learning in the IT field is something that you cannot underestimate because first of all, I would like to say that the IT field is very dynamic. It's very, very dynamic in such a way that, for example, you can even relate with, people that are not even in IT. You can relate with your normal phone. Software updates are popping in like every month and every week and so on. Now, imagine those of us that are in IT. For example, I'm a senior database administrator, and I can remember when I started my career as a database administrator back in 2012, and that's like over 10 years ago. And let's say, for example, one of the databases like Oracle database, they've been a lot of, I worked with 8i, then you had 9i, you had 10G, then you have 11G, you have 12C, 18C, 9, like that. So if you're not keeping up, you go out of touch. You can't compete. You can't compete. You lose relevance as an IT person. So it's very important. You can't debate it. You have to continue, upgrading your skills, learning new technologies. That's just one example. There are several others. Imagine every applications like that, they have updates. So you need to update your skills because the previous versions, they don't function the same way. They look exactly the same, but most of the what's it called, the features are changing. I can give you typical examples if I have time. Like for example, Oracle database management software, the one for 10G. When the 11G came up, there are tools that they became easier. There are some features become easier. But if you don't know, you continue to struggle and waste more time. Trying to, for example, when they do their, for example, the backup, when you are doing your backup and you're using data pump, the data pump was introduced in the 11G, and if you are still using the old version, what it does is it helps you run your backup in parallel, so you can do it faster, so it cannot be underestimated. You need to be able to upgrade your skills in IT. Very important. That's just on one aspect. If you ask people that are in the app support, those are in the developers, that's the programmers, they'll tell you too that there are so many other languages now. People are even leaving the normal conventional database management systems into open source, where you have more flexibility where you can do a lot of things, on your own. So imagine you're still stuck with your old knowledge. You can't fit in, you can't compete. You just notice one morning you wake up and you see that you're already outdated. Companies are not calling you, nobody's looking at, what you can do. You are out of the market. So that's just it, basically. Thank you.
Are you there, Amaya? I guess, let's see. Thank you, sir, Ndubuisi. Amaya will be back up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so Amaya will be back up in a bit. I guess she's having a bit of technical issues. Once again, Sir Ndubuisi, thank you. And I would like to also remind our audience. Oh, Amaya is back. Okay, welcome, Amaya.
My apologies. The network just took me out. Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Ndubuisi, for just addressing our first question. My next question to you is, I want to be certain. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Clearly.
Thank you. Okay, fantastic. So my next question to you is, online education can serve as a powerful tool, right, for learning and just upskilling, just like you had mentioned when you were answering the first question. And so I'm going to just, dial down to you on a personal note, because you just recently wrapped up your MSIT program from one of our partner universities.
Can you guys hear me? Network is this.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Amaya.
I'm not certain if you got the question before the network took me out again.
Yeah, not completely, but I think you can.
Okay. I'll just take it again. I was saying that, online education helps with upskilling and reskilling, like you highlighted when you were answering your first question. And I was saying to you, congratulations on you just wrapping up your MSIT program at one of our partner universities.
Thank you.
And so for you, what would you say your learning experience at AIU helped you in terms of upskilling and also in terms of maybe bridging any sort of, knowledge gap and things like that?
Thank you very much for the question. Before now, I'd had this skepticism about online education. I used to think that, oh, it's not the real deal, like that. But, my experience at AIU has, completely changed that perception, because, it's actually more real than you can imagine, and the quality of education, the kind of, the structures, courses that are, that will make you job ready, up to date. I think prepared by industry experts and so on. So I think it's an amazing journey. Honestly speaking, it's an amazing journey. I can go on and on, because for example, the kind of projects that we did during my study at AIU were, real life projects that are, up to date, in terms of upskilling your knowledge as an IT professional. I did the IT management course, like, I did the IT management course, and it was amazing. For example, I could still remember one of the courses where we had software development, software management life cycle. I'm a database administrator. I know about it, but in the shallows. But getting to AIU, I have the opportunity to now go in depth into software management lifecycle, you know, and the processes. Another example was the emerging technologies. You know, you are exposed to the things that are happening real time. You know, it's like emerging technologies. We talked about autonomous cars, you know, autonomous vehicles, blockchain, you know, cryptocurrency. And these lessons were very practical because, you know, we had a situation where we simulated a purchase of a cryptocurrency. You know, you have an opportunity to simulate a purchase at the beginning of a course, and towards the end of the course, you are asked to, okay, how much did you make? How much is the currency when you bought it? You know, and how much is it now? You know, these are real life experiences. These are things that, you know, you think you have a knowledge of them. Until then, you are now taught the nitty gritties of those new technologies. You know, so it was really an exciting time. It was really intense. The lectures were intense. You know, it's something that it works on your person as a whole, you know, because the schedules are tight. You have deadlines, you know, so it's not like, you know, when my perception before, like I said earlier, I used to think that, oh, these are not serious guys, you know, you just go there and you just play. No, you have serious time schedules. You know, these are things that work on your character as a person. You have deadlines, you have targets to meet, you know, and by the time you run through all these kind of systems and targets and schedules that are set for you in a year, you will notice that there's an improvement in yourself, you know, as a person. You are able to keep to time, you're able to meet deadlines, you are able to, you know, meet targets and so on, educational targets and skill upgrading targets. So it's an amazing experience, if you ask me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Ndubuisi, and I like that you shared your experience as well. So I would like to ask you a question bordering on your experience in school, like you have just um, mentioned. So what's the school's approach in assisting, advising? What kind of support did you get? Would you consider it very useful, um, your time in school?
Yeah, so that's another thank you very much for the question, Isioma. So that's another very amazing aspect of the educational system in AIU. The support is amazing, you know, because you have this opportunity to reach your professors and your lecturers real time. You know, you can actually schedule a meeting, you can send them a message, they respond, you know. So you don't feel like you are, I don't know how to put it. You don't feel like you are just you know, connecting over the internet and you are just, you know, in a class, but you have this feeling of there's a touch, there's a reach, you know. So I had, you know, in the process, I had several opportunities where I had to, you know, have a one-on-one with some of the lecturers, you know, and their response was amazing. You know, you'll be amazed at, you know, how some of those lecturers are interested in your progress. They are interested in your success. So there is just beyond teaching is I can't start mentioning the names of the professors, but it's beyond the teaching, you know. You know, in deep inside you that these are people that are interested in your progress. They want to see, it's not beyond, it's not about passing or failing, you know. So they want to know whether you're actually, you know, practicing what they're teaching you. They are concerned about your success. You know, I had several opportunities where I had a one-on-one with them, and it was amazing. Amazing. These are industry experts. Nana, and something I like to mention again is that the lecturers at AIU are people that, you know, they've done these things. They are professionals. Some of them work for big corporations, you know, work for big corporations in the US, you know, and they understand what it means by, you know, when they are giving you job insights, as in like things that you need to excel in your career. So they are talking from that standpoint. So it's not just lecturing aspect. You know, you can be a lecturer, you know, but there's something extra when you are a lecturer and then you are still somebody who is in the career field. You know, you work, you know, so they give you those kind of insights. Okay, these are the things that you need to succeed when you get out there after education. Thank you very much.
Very, you're welcome. That's a very good one. And I'll just quickly like to add, with the support and all that you've gotten from the faculty, your professors. So would you say that, studying in AIU has helped you in some way in advancing like your career? Would you
Yes,
say
very
that?
well. Yes, very well. So there's a lot of career advancement because I had some courses in project management, and yeah, I've been handling projects in my previous job roles, but now you with after the lectures in AIU, after the process in AIU, it's like you're seeing it from another perspective. It's now professional. You are doing it as like a way a professional will handle a project. So that kind of exposure. So I can say that, yeah, really, it has helped me advance my career in so many ways.
Thanks, Ndubuisi. I think Amaya is back. Amaya, are you there?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like the fact that, you were just able to share the fact that AIU gave you more practical hands-on experiences, not just theoretical. And there's this misconception that you had debunked, that people feel like, oh, online learning is not a serious thing, it's not a big deal, it's not a serious thing, so I can just just decide not to be too serious with it. But I think that the case is different with with AIU as well. So my next question to you would be, as regards bridging the digital skill gap through online education, it can be challenging. What are the common obstacles that you observed, whilst you were running your program? And what advice would you give to someone who is thinking or planning to embark on that online learning process?
Thank you very much for this question. And like you mentioned, it can be challenging. It is challenging. I must confess to you, it's actually challenging, very, very challenging, because you are moved from your normal schedule. Your work alone is challenging. Then now combining your work with study, and deadlines and targets. So it was challenging, really, really challenging, because I could remember my very first week, second week, and I was like, are you sure I'm going to pull through? As in, am I sure this is what I want for myself at this time, but at the end of the day, looking back, it's not something like, for the other part of your question, I would advise someone who is coming in, it's not something that is not doable. It's actually doable. But so when you get into it and you see these challenges stare at you, you don't give up. That's the only thing I have to tell you. You don't give up. You need to push through, because the challenges will pay off later. You know why? Apart from the fact that you're getting a degree, at the end of the day, you are getting a degree, you are increasing in your skills, you are building knowledge. There's this other aspect that it molds your character. There's this, before you know it, you are now able to keep to time. Imagine sleepless nights, just to make sure that you have you submit an assignment, you post on a discussion board, you participate, so it molds your character, so it's quite challenging, but trust me, at the end of the day, you would appreciate it, the results, you will love what you get. So that's my advice to someone who wants to, get into that kind of program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I like how you put it, that despite it's challenging, that one has to push through the process. For you yourself, I think you had graduated with the 4.0 over 4.0. So despite the challenge, you had set out a goal for yourself, and you attained that goal. That's to say that it is doable. And just like you talked about the fact that it helps you mold your character. As you advance in life, your schedule will not get less busier, but you'd have to just learn how to navigate it. And so doing that, incorporating it into your lifestyle, helps as you go along with your life's journey. All right, so my next question to you will be that many individuals aspire future-proof, IT skills. Based on your experience, what valuable recommendations would you offer someone who is embarking on a similar journey? from your bio, you had mentioned you had experience in, telco, you also have experience in banking. So what would you advise a person that is also trying to, tour your path as well?
Okay, so first of all, I'll say to that person, you need to have a passion for technology, because you cannot really succeed in something that you don't like. You don't go into it because other people are doing it or because it pays well. Now, and if I say that, it's not like, oh, if I don't have a passion for it, that means I shouldn't go. No, you can actually develop that passion. That's what I mean. You can develop the passion for, for technology, and then you can grow and build on it. The truth is, by the time you start, practicing and start, getting yourself in, in technologies and things like that, you find out that it's something that you truly like, because for me, although I've always liked to, be an IT person, I studied computer engineering in school, and when I graduated, I was looking into the IT direction, but I know people that are very good in my field, in the database profession. And if you ask them what they studied as their first degree, some of them are accounting, and they became very, very good senior database administrators, database architects, and so on. So that's why I mentioned that passion is something that you can actually develop. So don't use my first statement and say, oh, I need to have passion. And since I don't have passion for technology, I don't think it's something I can do. But you can actually develop that passion, and then you can go through that journey. And at the middle of the journey, you find out that you actually enjoy that journey. Most of us that are IT people, you notice that, oh, at the middle of journey, it's something you love doing. It's something you like to do. So
yes.
That's my advice for someone who is looking into getting into tech. It's something that you need to build the passion and just go through it. I've been part of my experience was in the banking industry, and even in the banking industry, I was into application support before I joined the database line. And then from the banking industry, I moved into telecommunication. So it's a journey. So what I would say to that person, just embrace the journey, love the journey, and build the passion. That's all. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think this will be my last question to you. So as someone who, in recent times, we know that remote work has become like a major thing, especially for IT, professionals. As remote work becomes increasingly prevalent, what are the two most impactful techniques or strategies you would suggest to promote individual team productivity, especially when you're working with teams from, diverse geographical locations? What would you advise?
Okay, so thank you again for this question. Remote work, it's something that I see as something that it's actually more effective. I will tell you that it's actually more effective than the physical kind of at the outbreak of the pandemic. A lot of people saw the advantages of remote work. People would think that, oh, if you're working remotely, you are not producing results and so on. But the truth is, you actually produce more results. You work more actually, because you wake up in the morning and there's no commute time. You have cut out commute time. That commute time you take, it's stressful and so on. So by the time you are getting to the office, you already maybe like if I rate your maybe like your brain and your brain power by percentage, your brain power is already reduced like with 30% because of commute time, and then you have 70% more to give to the work. But when you're working remotely, you have 100%. You're starting up with 100% and you're giving your all. Then one of the ways you can make it very valuable and people are not left out is via communications. And thank God for technology. We have various tools for remote work that are used for monitoring, communication, the Zoom. Okay, for example, we're having this webinar and we're talking as though, I could remember a discussion I had with someone in 2014. Yeah, was it 2014 or either 2012 or 24? Let's say 2012, for example, 2012. There was no video calling. You can't see the person you're talking to. It wasn't there. I think the first technology then was Skype. Skype brought out the video calling, and it was like an amazing thing. Like, whoa, I can be talking to you and I can see you. That wasn't there. So with those kind of tools, remote work is made easy. you can actually relate with people as though you are sitting next table with them, and both of you can communicate and resolve issues, get innovative ideas, make progress on your work without any issues at all. So I think it's something that with the technological tools that we have, remote work is made easy. I don't think there's any, I think there's a research too. I can't give the figures now, but there's a research that showed that you had higher productivity with people that worked remotely than people that commute to work. So
wow.
I think that's what I can see for now. There are tools to make it simple and easy.
All right. Okay. So as we wrap up your session today, our final question to you is, what's your advice to someone who's trying to start out in the tech space? And what is the best way they can get a job? And what are the skills that they should possibly acquire that you feel like employers typically look out for in the tech space? I know that it's broad, but what are the common baseline that anybody trying to go into tech, what are the common baseline that they need to have in terms of skill sets?
Okay, so the common baseline, I'll try to be very brief because really, like you said, it's very broad, but I think the common baseline is the support, IT support. IT support entails little, networking, application support, like there's an application, but those applications need support. Like for example, if we use this conferencing tool, for example, the Zoom conference, there are people that are back end there supporting it. So I think that's an entry level for someone who wants to go into IT. Because if you notice, if you have done IT support in terms of networking, application support, and just those little things that you've done, you can actually launch out into either cybersecurity, database administration, those other big ones, data analytics, and so on. Like for me as an example, I started with an application. I was doing core banking application support. Like the application that is used for the core banking system. All I did was to support it. That was my entry level, basic. So for someone who is trying to come into IT and you're thinking, cybersecurity is large, they won't give me jobs, because you mentioned something about jobs. They won't give me job because I don't have experience. They won't give me this. I need 10 years experience. I need that. I think the best way to come in is IT support. Once you come in as an IT support person, you come in as an application support person, anything on the support line is the baseline. When you start that, then you start developing passion for the big ones. Then you can actually start talking about jobs. You can get the basic jobs with the support. Then by the time you start becoming a professional, you focus on a particular line. And then when you get into that line, then you progress from there and the jobs will start flowing in. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndubuisi. And it's a wrap with your session. Thank you so much for making out the time to come share your expertise and knowledge with us and also with our audience. We are very appreciative of it. Do have a wonderful evening. And besides, I know that there'll be a couple of questions on the chat, but I can't see them right now. But we'll definitely send them across.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
I'll just quickly remind us before we go on to the next session. That was an insightful session with Sir Ndubuisi. I just want to remind us that if we do have questions, just click the chat button, type your questions, and we'll definitely, send the questions to the speakers concerned. Okay, so let's remember to use the chat session for our questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Isioma, for that reminder. So up next is our next speaker, Ejakpovi Agarin. He is a cybersecurity leader and a business advisor. So I'm just going to talk a bit about his bio and possibly have him just introduce himself to us. So Ejovi, as is commonly called, is an internationally respected cybersecurity strategist, a trusted advisor, specializing in enterprise and security architecture, cloud security, security strategy, product security, and leading business focused security and transformation programs. Is born in Nigeria, but currently based in the UK. He serves as a trusted advisor to business leaders across sectors in North America, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. With no further, I don't want to go through all this, but I'm just going to welcome him. Mr. Ejakpovi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to do this with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Hi, you can hear me, I suppose.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
So this
good.
evening we're going to be taking like a deep dive into your own session, and your session is basically going to teach us more or just equip us more with more information or insights as regards building future skill sets that are future ready, and also harnessing like the power of remote work. So my first question to you is, which aspects of the technical skills or credentials are currently most desirable for IT professionals across different areas? So what would you say are the most desirable skill sets for IT professionals?
To answer the question, it's a common question I get a lot when I discuss with people, and in as much as it's easy to just call through a lot of things in there, I tend to tell people follow the money. Now, when I say follow the money, it's a quick. I may waffle a little, but just permit me. Why do I say follow the money? If you look at industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, let's go jump straight. In 1.0, what was the key thing? It was about having enough people in the farms to be able to harvest produce. So then,
yes,
what was the key thing there? The definition of money was anyone who could have access to lots of kids or workers. So if you're very active as a man, then you're rich, because then you had more kids, more people to work. And that being active was the desirable currency then, and the desirable skill or competence. Move down to industry 2.0, 3.0. It was about production, mechanized production. And then what was the currency? What was the key thing there? Was the money, or what really drove that whole thing was oil. Why? You needed oil and oil produce. So with that, what was the in thing was the hot selling thing was anything that was any role that revolved around oil. Now in 4.0, it's about IT and all that, but the key thing is not IT. The real money there is data. Now, so anything you want to do, when I say follow the money, technically, in reality, I'm saying follow data. So everything with data, because that's the money spinner, not the IT is. So now people will say, oh, come and be a developer, come on. Like, I enjoyed Ndubuisi's presentation, but truthfully, I have a different perspective when you look at that. There are a lot of roles that are dead. Roles that are not focused on data are dead. If you're doing system support, it's dead. No one repairs computers. If my phone is dead, the truth is, if you've had some good experience, especially if you work in a place where you have insurance most times, if your phone is dead, you don't fix it, you replace it. Because when you fix it, it's never the same. It's like, again, so now what do? People want to trade in their cars after 4 years, so that by the time the car useful life, and that's how it is. So a lot of roles are becoming redundant, even as wonderful as software engineering now. Why do I pay? Well, it's Google is laying off people, software engineers. Why? AI. A good AI tool, Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot can write code for you from a UI. A UI designer is more even valuable right now than a developer. And that's why I say when it comes to, because the UI for a UI designer, he needs to understand the business requirement. He needs to sit and get it out of your head and put together the piece. And after piecing together the design, An AI tool now can write a code based on that design. An AI tool can write a threat model, develop a threat model, analyze it based on a high-level design. So the world is evolving, and the only way to stay relevant is data. Follow data. Even security. Before security, used to be network security, it was all hot. Now it's follow data, anything, secure the data across all platforms, whether it's network, whether it's in a trusted or untrusted network, whether it's in a file server, it's in database, just protect the data. If you want to be, if you are into someone who has bias for compliance, you look at data protection and all that. And even that is beginning to die out because the skills now, people are going into more privacy engineering. It's hot. Why? People want to be able to design secure tools that they want to be able to embed privacy constructs or principles within tools so that the tools, while helping you to achieve work and deliver value, they are also helping you comply with regulations. So when someone says desirable skills, I'll say things around data science. The more complex and abstract it is, with a higher bar of entry, the more desirable it is. So as against data analytics that anyone just understands about creating dashboards, data science is hot because they are creating data models. And those data models are what the ChatGPTs and all that are about. Those models drive automatic prescription. I have an issue. You should be able to, based on some data points, you should be able to prescribe what is wrong with me. So you have a watch now. It sees you. Yesterday, for example, I was playing football yesterday. I fell. The next thing my watch prompted me was SOS. That you notice I fallen and I should, when playing football. Then I was like, okay, no. It said I should confirm whether did I actually fall or not, because with that it calibrates its data, its model once more, improves its model. So I said, yes, I fell. And I clicked ignore for the SOS. But it has taken that, so it identified that it was correct with his data analytics in that point. So that's what security, even security. I'm a cybersecurity architect. I don't call myself, what I tend to describe myself basically is I provide value to businesses. Why? I see myself as that brake. What I do to the business is what the brake is to the car. It doesn't stop the car from driving or going fast. It enables the car to drive fast because whoever is in the car understands that if I need to brake, if I need to apply a stop, I get there quickly. So typically, the stronger the brake, the faster the car, the stronger the brakes.
Yes.
That's why the Corolla brakes can never compare to the brakes in the jet engine for the jets or Ferraris. So that's what I say. So I help businesses achieve value by securely adopting technologies. So what is desirable? I will say, if I have to go straight to the point, I'll say data science, things around machine learning, AI, big data, things around data. I would say DevOps. And why is DevOps hot? DevOps basically now, because people want developers or engineers that can deploy both they can build and run systems. No longer I'm an infrastructure person. I just build an infrastructure and someone builds the application. Then someone has to run it and support it. Now we don't want an application support person, different from a database, different from an application an application developer. We want one person that can do all of that. Why? Because abstraction is taking place. The last time I've worked in organizations where you don't, for example, have a database engineer. Why? Because you don't have to deploy. When Ndubuisi talked about database administrator, Oracle 9 and 8, in my mind, I was just smiling. It brought back good memories for me, because those are real products. Oracle database products that we had used in the past, and it was good. But today, most people don't even know about those things. Why? You simply go, it's a service. You just connect to the service. All the other things are done for you. The schema partitioning, all those things are beginning. You don't have to go worry yourself about that. The world is evolving and such. So what things like DevOps is key. Security is key, but even within the security space, you need to be able to move away from the conventional security. Within the security space, a key thing is average security engineer needs to understand, or security professional needs to understand application security. They need to understand data security. Those two are beginning to. Then, while you say IT, why we talk about desirable skills, one desirable skill that people hardly talk about is business. Because at the end of the day, whatever we're doing, we are here for the business. It's about the naira or the pounds and p's or dollars and cents. No one cares. At the end of the day, no one cares whether you are using technology or I'm doing this. How do they translate to money? So as we build, while we preach about building these technical skills, competencies in these key IT areas, one thing I'll keep emphasizing is build business knowledge. Go and know the business. You can better support the business. You can better secure the business, solve the business problem when you know what the business is about. I worked in banking. I hated everything numbers then. I said, oh, no, I'm a tech person. I want to be a security person. But today I'm doing a DBA because why? I want to understand business. Where people have problems, they go to get a BA now to come and as an intermediary between yourself, because the IT person is speaking a different language. The business person speaking a different language. Then you need a BA to do as an intermediary. The world is evolving. Why should he get a BA when this guy should be able to talk to this guy directly? If he can't, we go get someone who can do it. And now you're having a lot of people, like Ndubuisi talked about, you have people who read business, accounting, coming to do security now. So they bring with them key business and finance skills to come. So that becomes a core. So at the end of the day, while we preach all these wonderful areas, data science, cloud, cybersecurity, previously, AR, ML, learn the business, fundamental.
Wow. Thank you so much. In fact, that particular question that you have just, answered has even delved into a couple of other questions that I would have, asked you. So I'm just going to skip those other questions that, you've touched a bit on and just move forward to the ones you've not, touched on a bit. So, okay. So how do online learning platform, contribute to, being future ready as regards the IT space? What would you say learning through the online platform, how does it help you stay future ready?
Okay, I'll reinforce what Ndubuisi, former speaker, has talked about. You need to be beyond even IT, anywhere, any space you are, lifelong, continuous learning is key. And gone are the days when I was doing my master's, I remember, they tell you that they prefer you citing, and they advise us to read more of journals and papers than books. Why? Between when the book is written, being reviewed, up to the time it's published, and then it lands on your shelf or on the shop or internet where you get to buy, it's already obsolete. At least 60 or 70% of what is in it is obsolete. Even as stationary as accounting practices and medicine that we used to always say, these guys don't do anything, it's just mechanic, same old, same. It's changing. As an accountant now, there are a lot of new tax rules. You were a good accountant and overnight IFRS came in. Almost what you thought about how to present statements becomes old school. You need to go learn about it. So now the work model today is like Ndubuisi said, which I absolutely agree, is fast pace. Things are moving. So you don't also have, just as they're moving so fast, they say as the hunter learns to shoot without missing, the bird needs to learn to fly without perching. And what does that mean? You need to continuously you cannot outpace the technology, but you can try to be you can grow in tandem with it, in alignment with it.
Yeah.
That's key. Yes. That means, and the only way you can do that, gone are the days where before you go to a class, book for a class meeting, then they look for accommodation space, they try to bundle people all together, like we did in university, and I get tempted sometimes to use some swear words, but the truth is this, most of those things were a waste of time. Why? Before you finish, you see teachers teaching. The world has evolved from that. Now you want to be able to learn at pace with the maximum degree of flexibility. So, for example, this session would have required us going to meet in one hall, sit down together, think of flight ticket and logistics. But what is this? This is an online learning session, as it were.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
able to learn. I finish work for the day, yet I can spend another 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour to get a new skill. People learn even from Instagram. It's about what do you want to learn. Now, with what the opportunity online learning does is it gives you flexibility to learn at your pace, learn from anywhere. At the same time, choose and pick what suits your goals. So I want to learn about finance, I can pick it. If I want to learn about technology, I can pick it. Also, things like remote learning now, things like the adoption of cloud technologies and what you call about the consumerization of tech products. So you now have everything before that was in a laptop is now in a mobile phone. People now, they bring concepts like BYOD. All that means you're able to run a lot of simulations and tests. Before, if I was learning networking, I need to go and look for at least one old router to put in my house. Now, from my phone, I can learn. I can do simulations on my phone. Now, that benefit of ubiquity is only available, or it's now available through online learning at key one affordable price point. Because one, you can repeat a person delivering this content can record just one content, have people play it over and over, and resell it. So instead of selling for 15 people at 12 grand, or let's say 10 grand per person, I can afford to sell to everybody at 10 naira, but I sell to 2 million people. I make more money. And then these people can also now go even down to certificates are becoming a thing of the past. People are now looking at digital badges. So you learn, you have something to demonstrate it. It's the whole evolution, and that's the benefit of the flexibility, the agility, the ability to, the ubiquitous nature that you can work from any platform, study from any platform, anywhere, anytime, at your pace. And it's now becoming, with that, you can make it affordable. That's why some online education is really cheaper than in person. All these are part of things that make it very key when it comes to gaining more acceptance in terms of online learning. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Thank you so much. You see, I like how you just, take a deep dive into the questions that I asked. And so by just answering the questions, you go ahead to answer the subsequent questions, like follow-up questions I would have asked. Which is a good thing though. So my next question to you is, beyond the academic knowledge, that you've acquired, because you are a current doctoral student at one of our partner university, which is Trident University. So beyond the academic knowledge, how has Trident's DBA program specifically just help you in becoming more acquainted with business with regards to your program?
Okay. Interestingly, I'm a tech person through and through. Even if anytime I introduce myself, I tell people I'm not technical. I tell people when I go to new companies and I work, I tell you I'm not technical, I'm just a business person. But even with that, when I speak that, in my mind, I know I don't know jack about business. It's like what they say, I'm from Urobo, I'm an Urobo boy. So there's something they say, you are born a lawyer because you're an Urobo man. So I see that same thing I say, because I'm a Ninja boy, I'm born with business mind, with a business mindset. At the end of the day, I'm in the UK, not because I just like the weather or the cold. I can't stand cold normally. I'm here because of Naira, the peas and the pounds and all that. So for me, when I look at that, what then comes to mind is I want to understand the real decisions about life. And how I started this whole thing is the real decisions that shape the business are not done on the basis of technology or accounting. It's based on business value, where the goal of every business is to provide value to its stakeholders, be it shareholders, regulators, investors, even employees. and customers. So it's about value creation. And for you to be able to also, beyond that, I need to understand a lot about management, a lot about leadership. And I'll be very honest, most of the things I thought I knew in just 2 terms already, and this is my second term on the program, I've learned so much that even in the workplace, it's been evident. Now, when we have conversations, the first thing I tell you, and so what? What is the business requirement? More so, I also try my best now. I'm doing a current course the current course I'm doing is on organizational management and leadership. It's terribly hard for me because I'm a techie. I don't know these concepts. So when I talk but the truth is that it has made me a better person, even as I struggle on the course, because when Ndubuisi talked about how tough it is demanding, it is tough. Interestingly, I have a colleague that brought me in, a professional colleague that introduced me to the course. She's on the call as well. So we're both on the program. At the point, I was like, this lady did not tell me it was just demanding. But it is, I'll be very honest. And it made me, after 3 weeks into the program, I told a mentor of mine, I said, if I finish this and you call me Ejakpovi and you don't call me Dr. Ejakpovi, we will fight. Why? It is tough, but from every day you're getting better. Now I understand a lot of myths around, leaders are born. That's wrong. Why? Leaders are made. It's about when you start your making process. Some people, if you're born, some people are taught or made. They are taught in a structured way. Some people just pick it from your immediate surrounding will define how it is. But at the end of the day, it's teaching. Either you're doing some people. So if you grow up in a place and look at how it works in business, an Igbo man is born into a small boy in an Igbo family that's very business centric. He's born there. From day one, he's already used to handling money. That child at 5 will be a better business manager than myself in my 30s. Because why? He's been schooled, knowingly or unknowingly, with that mentality about frugality, about seizing opportunities, identifying opportunities and the likes. And I think for me, that has been the benefit of going Trident. As against doing a DBA, I had the option I rejected a PhD initially for my uni, saying I wanted to make money outside of tech. Then later, I met a friend who started doing a DBA in health and safety, and she made me understand the differences. And when I went to Trident, I just spoke with my colleague here. She gave me some insight that really got me worked up. Then I pumped. Then I got to hear of the discount I could get. Who doesn't like a good deal? And I jumped at it. The support has been wonderful. The learning is tasking, but it is more experiential. So you're learning from both the conversations, like Ndubuisi talked about, you're learning from conversations, you're learning from the teachers, and most of them are industry folks. So they're not just coming, and the DBA also is structured not to teach you. It's not an MBA where they teach you, this is how leaders should be. No. What they do basically is they give you guides to go and research on what a good leader is, then juxtapose that or synthesize that with look at your experience in the past, synthesize that to what the books have talked about, and come up with something that becomes your definition or your understanding of what a leader is, or what motivation is, what the personal profile is. And I'll be very honest, I've learned so much. It's improved what I do in the office, my thinking, even as a person. I try now I pretend to try to be an active listener, which is a tough call because my head race paces. I can't say one thing 2 times because by the time I'm saying the second time, I'm thinking I may say the different thing a better way. I'm always thinking of improving. My head is always pacing. So coming to learn this, it's been awesome. And their teaching style, I think, it is tough on the student in a way, but you see results on the fly. So 1 week in, 2 weeks in, You're crying, oh, this assignment, this deadline, I'm behind. But you're seeing the value. People around you are also experiencing the value from your home, from your workplace. And I think that experiential learning is one thing that distinguishes Trident from, because I did a course in Harvard before, a short course in Harvard. It was two different things. The Harvard course was basically, I just come. It was tough too, but the learning approach was different. So I'll be very honest. It's tough. I welcome everyone to come and try it. It's really a good experience. But it enriches you from day one.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So my next question to you is, what are the effective strategies that leaders can implement to encourage collaboration within virtual teams and also overcoming limitations around remote work communications and just ensuring effective team management within the remote workspace?
Personally, the current course I'm doing this term is organizational management and leadership. So I think this falls within my playground, so I'll be able to talk about it. Yes, irrespective of whether it's remote or on-site or you're running hybrid workforce, the key thing is this, especially when looking at it from a hybrid workforce or remote, is the way we used to work has changed. So before it was when I was in the bank, then we wait, you finish, you're done, we work at 5. You're waiting for your boss to leave before you leave. Because then it was not and that's why your boss believes you're working when he sees you working. Now, the way of working has changed, where it's about clear objectives, clear deliverables, and you attaining those deliverables. So for you to effectively lead teams in today's world, you need to be very clear. As a leader, the first thing is to define clearly your goals and your expectations, your vision. Create a vision board. Work on your goals. Let it be clear and let it be something that each person can understand in their own words. Not those, yes, people write it in those mantras or pillars. Oh, I have the 7 ways in different shops. But if people cannot translate that to what they understand in their own words, forget it. If an 8-year-old cannot read it and make it a clear understanding of what it is, it's useless. Same way people talk about reports. Oh, if you're writing a report to an exec and an 8-year-old cannot read it and understand it, it's crap. So first things first, be clear about your expectations, your goals, your vision. What is the function or your team or the unit, organizational unit setting out to do? What is the leader's vision of where they should be going? That helps everybody work together and share that journey together. And with that, it also helps you when you're trying to recruit, to understand the person I'm coming in, does he share my vision? If you don't, you can only work if they agree, as the Bible says. So the beauty of synergy is knowing that everyone is having a clear path and everyone working in synergy or unison. The other thing is, and for you to, as a leader, for you to work effectively, be it in a remote or hybrid setup, you need to establish protocols or create protocols or opportunities for consistent and clear communication. Try and deploy collaboration tools. Try to bring down the walls of the structural walls of let's say we used to call it levels. Then when I was in banking, you had this, when you were a big boy, when you had those glass houses, those glass offices with the fridge and all that. So because of that, things that were happening on the shop floor, you were insulated from it. So most times when you're bringing up strategies, it doesn't align to those guys. Those guys just wait. When you go close and go, then you see the real people and doing their thing. You need to now tear down those barriers and effect communication protocols. You see, in most environments, you have people are moving away from things like Teams to Slack. Why? Slack allows for continuous talk, and 20 people can be talking different threads on the same topic. That's collaboration. So look for effective ways to collaborate, drive collaboration, tear down barriers. People don't need to officially send emails to bosses. You can chat your boss. He should be able to respond. And he can also check in on you. What are you doing? Then one other thing you can do again too is look for ways to drive transparency and accountability. What are you doing? So most times you have people have stand-ups daily. The stand-ups is not there to come and punish anybody, it's to understand what everyone is doing and to get everyone to have a fair view of what each person is doing. Likewise, the leader. The leader needs to also be transparent and accountable. He should come also and share what he's doing for the day, or what his plans are for the day, his expectations of the people for the day or for the week. Those kind of things help to drive, you tear down those barriers, you're able to drive collaboration, better collaboration within teams. Also create opportunities for people to innovate. Let people understand, be able to delegate functions, let them trust, let people have the assurance that they can make mistakes. So far, these mistakes are made with your best of intentions and following established protocols. You don't have to that. They will be supported and not just admonished. It's one of the concepts that the fintech world has used as the fintech unicorns have based in the ethos which have driven that their unicorn status you hear today. And now conventional businesses and other areas are beginning to take that idea of let's collaborate, let's allow people to innovate. Someone said Google is one of the most entrepreneurial organizations. That's why you have ex-Googlers are all over having big companies. Why? You are continuously encouraged to think as an entrepreneur within the business. Come up with a product that we think the customers will sell. Provide support. So, and it also gives people opportunity to hone their skills and see a path towards growth. So, of all, I would say lead by example as a leader. Look at the business like a family with young kids under the age of 5. No matter what you tell a kid under the age of 5, you're wasting your time. They don't grow by what you say. Even if you are a prophetic person that likes declaring a word and speaking fire and tongues, or whatever it is, they don't grow by that. They grow by watching you and imitating you. So you see a child, a parent that loves dancing, twerk, 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 the child will start twerking before he's 5. A parent that likes praying and singing praises, the child will just start carrying mic and start performing those things. Not because you have told the child to do it, they copy you. So as a leader, if you understand that, it means you need to be able to understand that people are watching you. Even before you make policies, your way of life, the way you lead will encourage people to follow, to adopt those things before even they are reaching down. And when they are reaching down, they know how serious it is. If you're a boss who comes late to the office, and then you expect people to come early, you're wasting time. They will come early within the bounds of when they can be caught. So imagine those same people working remotely. They know that Oga will not come till 12. Let me just sleep. I will put it right now. There are even apps you put on you can deploy on your app on your laptop that your mouse the mouse cursor will keep shaking without you doing anything. So your Outlook will be green or your Teams will be green, like you are on there. So all these are part of things but instead of a good leader will lead by example, will drive collaboration, drive effective communication, try to tear down structures, then break tasks into deliverables, not just how long you've been working. Oh, have you delivered for the day? If yes, go do your thing. Lastly, look for ways to drive team building. Get people, even if you are not a wonderful person at organizing team bonding activities, look for people within the team or look for experts externally. I have companies that, as part of team bonding, they want to organize a team bonding activity. Oh, it's a drinks. Before, they used to bring everybody drinks. So what they do now, they ship drinks to your house. And while we're all having Zoom, everyone is drinking and cracking jokes. You play games over the internet, Kahoot and the others. Look for that. Also, once in a while, even when you are I try to tell people that even if, for example, I work remotely since 2019 or 2018, I've been working remotely. But I try to go to the office once a month or once or twice a month, not because I'm mandated to. Interestingly, if I get a job that mandates me to be in the office even once a month, I won't take the job. I like going to the office when I feel like going, or if I have something important. Sometimes there are some conversations you want to have, it's best in person. You want to be able to read body cues, you want to be able to see. So all those are the things I tell people, try and drive team building activities, organize drinks, let people come in person and in their houses. And if you do all of that, I think, irrespective of whether people are working a million miles apart or 1,000 miles apart or in the same space, hybrid, remote, in person or on premise, they will be that you will be building, you'll be leading a motivated, a highly motivated, and a highly committed team that will be innovative and will support delivering great outcomes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ejakpovi. Your session has been quite insightful and power-packed. And that will be the end of your session, although we have a couple of questions, but we just want to take all the questions when we're done with all the sessions. So now we're going to move to Coach Dakpo's session. You're welcome, sir. We're going to move to Coach Dakpo's session right away. Yes. So Coach Dakpo is going to be taking us on entrepreneurship in the digital age. Yes, entrepreneurship in the digital age. So I'll just talk a bit on his bio and we'll just go right into it. So Coach Dakpo is a certified business coach. He's a certified business coach. Okay, thank you. He's a certified business coach and a global business pathfinder and a business money maker. Yes, he is. His career experience spans over 2.5 decades. He has spent over 15 years with an advertising agency where he developed winning advertising campaign for both local and global brands, including PricewaterhouseCoopers, Coca-Cola, La Casera, Avon, and HMOs. His mission is to deliver Africa and the world out of mental, material poverty, one person at a time. So without further ado, let's welcome Coach Dakpo. Coach Dakpo, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much for
Dakpo. Thank you so much for joining us today. And just like Ejakpovi said, he has said, in his opening remark, he said, follow the money. And now we're about to talk about the money because you're the money man. So we're about to talk about the money. So I'll just dive right into the questions that I have for you today. My first question is, my first question to you is there a reliable way to assess the market potential of a business idea? Especially specifically, how can entrepreneurs determine if a business idea has a disruptive potential to, shake up the status quo and open possibilities for growth for them? So hope you got the question.
Yeah, I did. And thank you so much for asking. Once again, I want to commend Ejakpovi for nailing it out of the park. I mean, that was a job very well done. And also for Ndubuisi for bringing your data analytics angle of things and everything you've done. I really appreciate the resource that you brought into the room. Without much ado, I would say pretty much most of the questions, even leaning to the one that you just asked, have been somewhat answered by Ejakpovi because we seem to have similar blood flowing in our veins, which is the blood that follows the money. Now, knowing where or how to find the kind of answer, the kind of idea that resonates with the market, I think oftentimes it's a case of a cart before the horse.
Mm.
Yeah, because oftentimes people start with an idea and they are now looking for where to test the idea. It should actually be the reverse. Rather than having your idea all cooked up in the kitchen and now looking for those who are hungry to feed, why don't you find those who are hungry and what their appetite is yearning for? then you now create a solution that is fit for their appetite, because you can have an idea that is fantastic and beautiful, but it could be ahead of its time, or it could even be behind its time. You might just not be ready for the market that is on ground. Now, the how question, which is how do you test it, or how do you know when people are ready for that idea? A very good way to look at it, of course, we're talking tech now, is to do a bit of forensics. What are people hungry for? There's going to be a whole lot of research, and Ejobi, once again, you've done a good job in nailing that aspect. Tech is not supposed to be for tech's sake. You use tech in business, and I'm glad that the DBA that tried it as offered has opened your eyes to see things beyond your world of cybersecurity. And this applies to every other entrepreneur that is out there. You don't just live in your world of tech and not be looking for people to consume your service, but ask yourself, what are people looking for? And this also applies to Ndubuisi. With all your experience in managing database and understanding Oracle, the whole series of Oracle. In fact, when you mentioned all that as well, I also went down memory lane and I was just smiling. But I'm asking myself, until it becomes relevant to the needs of people today, it might not be so much of a fantastic idea to them, because value is not defined by what you package. Value is defined by what the consumers want. So the best way to answer that question is to find out what exactly are people longing for. Ejobi has done a good job pitching his tent with cybersecurity, because the business of today is about managing information. And that is brilliant. That is fantastic. But it doesn't just stop there. You must ask yourself, what exactly are people managing? What information are they managing? Why are they managing that information? And to what end? Because that would also help you to know, beyond cybersecurity, what else can you do to support or respond to the needs of the people? I hope I'm making sense, because I know time has been fast spent. Dwell so much in the whole thing, but the first thing you must have in mind is, don't live in the world of your ideas. Go out there and find out what people are looking for. And you might realize that maybe you might need to drop 90% of the things that you actually have and polish your 10 to service them. Because when people see what they're looking for, they find it more relevant and they find it more valuable than when you put together something that is brilliant and fantastic and you're trying to force it on them. It might not be so much of value.
Fantastic. So value is what the market is yearning for, not necessarily what it is that you think that the market would value, but what the market is yearning for. Thank you so much for just sharing that with us. That was so succinct. So my next question to you, Ejakpo, is the digital age offers aspiring entrepreneurs unprecedented access to technology and education. How can these resources be effectively utilized to overcome challenges and launch successful venture? In this, in this context, what are like the essential mental skills or unique strength that every entrepreneur needs to focus on developing?
Okay, there is something I call it's somewhat similar to the first question, but this is now breaking it down into what kind of skills are relevant. When you have what I call the value triangle, which is where you get to analyze the entrepreneur's journey. And the value triangle has 3 sides. First, you have what you call the value development or value creation. Next, you have the value communication. And the third part is the value exchange. In the place of value development, that is the first part that I answered in the first question, which is understanding what people want and putting together the right solution for it. Now, in deconstructing that alone, there are so many tech relevant tools that you can adopt. And there are also lots of essential skills or meta skills, as you will call them, that you can also adopt. You must have a very curious mind. You must be very analytical in your thoughts. You must be critical in understanding what is the why behind the why that people want what they want. You must be very investigative. You don't just take things at surface level. You want to dig as deep as you can to know why are people looking for this particular thing and not just assuming. So most of the skills that you would need are going more into investigative research in getting the kind of feedback that will be relevant. Now, speaking to the data guys in the room, I call it big data. You now bring it to the table and you now break it, deconstruct it and say, what exactly is it? Because back in the day, before technology held sway, we used to use questionnaires. But of course, you and I both know that when you share questionnaires to people, they always answer with what they want you to know, or they tell you what they want you to hear, or what you feel like hearing. And to a large extent, most of the information or data is falsified. But now when you engage technology, technology doesn't even have to wait until they respond to a question. Technology just gets into their world and investigates their life patterns and extracts the answers from there. So you know that that answer is the actual truth. Now, in this case, the skills that you need will be the kind of skills that will support what technology will do for you in understanding the customer. That is at the value creation level or value development level. Now, at the value communication level, a lot of psychology is required because you also need to understand how the customer thinks, what triggers their needs, what triggers their, oh, yes, I want this, or, oh, no, I don't want, what triggers their buyer's journey. So when you communicate value, you want to use words that resonate with them. And that comes with a lot of psychology. So I'm just trying to break down the kind of skills that you'll be requiring. So it's not all tech skills, yet it's all tech skills. Because like Ejeli said, tech is not just for tech's sake. Tech is a tool. You don't get behind the car and just say, oh, I love the accelerator pedal. I love the brake pedal. Nobody does that. Just love the ride, that it moves and it moves fast. So tech, it's a tool. So you must also see yourself in the way that the tool is serving that purpose. That speaks to the value communication. Then the value exchange, which is what you refer to as selling that idea, making product to meet, making problem to meet solution, so that they can have an exchange and trading in value, whether it's pounds and peas, like Ejakpovi has said, and all that. By the time you go through that journey, that's just one cycle: creation, communication, exchange. But it's not one cycle. You need to repeat that cycle again and again in such a way that the next cycle should be an improvement on the previous cycle. Because from one cycle, you take feedback. Oh, what happened in this transaction? How did people react to this service? How did people react to this product? What can we do differently? That is where innovation comes in. That is where disruption comes in. So that as you continue to go round that circle, you are improving every now and then. So by the time you deconstruct all those meta skills, there are pretty much lots of them, but we don't have the time to break it down. But first, be investigative, be very curious in your mind, have a good, strong, what's it called? Psychology skills in understanding your customer. Yeah. Then at the point of selling, you must be compelling in making the value resonate with the customer and also understand a lot of business. Just like Ejakpovi is doing well with the DBA, you don't just dwell in tech, but you understand the business of your craft. You don't just do business in tech, but you must also do tech in business. So you now understand the business side of things to make you a very good entrepreneur.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for that answer to that question. So my next question to you is, having a brilliant idea is just the first step. How can entrepreneurs identify ideas and entrepreneurial roles and find the right people to collaborate with in, either building the service or building a product. Because as an individual, you might not have all the skill sets or competencies to be able to create a service or a product. So how would you identify the right people to collaborate with or partner with when you're creating a product or a service as an entrepreneur?
Okay, first let me talk about the previous question I answered, which is finding the problem first. Because here you said having a brilliant idea is the first step. I don't think having a brilliant idea is the first step.
Okay.
Having a understanding of the problem or the need is the first step. And that also helps you know the kind of talent you are looking for. So you don't just invest so much in filling your office space or studio office, whatever it is, with talent, only to realize that your overhead is hemorrhaging. Have a clear understanding of the problem first. Once you understand what the problem is, that also helps you to know what is the immediate talent that you need. You might want 10 talents, but maybe you just need one right now to move to the next phase. Because you also need to look at your bottom line. Do you have the means to hire all the skills or talents that you need? Not particularly as a startup, but you look at what is that essential talent that you need. And guess what? Technology has done the heavy lifting. Before you go hiring a personnel, there is actually going to be a solution available online. Virtual assistant, copywriting, whatever skill it is, there will be a skill vendor of some sort or an automated tech-driven tool that provides that solution that you're looking for, that you can jump on as your low-hanging fruit to give you the stability that you need to deliver on that solution for the problem. Now, as you do that and as you grow, then you can now afford a resident talent. It is then that you can now engage. In fact, you use technology as well. Who are the top talents in the market? Where are the tech hubs that are available? Who can I talk to? And all that. And because the tech space is also a very nuclear space, everybody knows everybody. When you get to that stage where you have your money that you want to hire a talent, you can always plug into a tech community. And immediately you get answers of those that are relevant, that can help you deliver what you want. And always keep your eyes on the original why, which is, what is the problem? The objective is not to build an office full of people, but the objective is to solve people's problems out there. Just wanted to put that in perspective.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So my next question to you is, what role does education play in equipping individuals with the skill sets, the mindsets necessary to succeed as an entrepreneur and within the complexities of the digital economy? What's the role of education, in that?
I don't know if it's a sarcastic question, because both guys have answered that question. If you want to remain in the cave, ignore education. Because what we learned is that education in itself is dynamic. We're chasing a movie target every day. I talked about the triangle, and I mentioned the fact that it's not just one round. You go round the process every now and then. And what you do in this transaction will always be different from what you did in the previous transaction, because every process is a learning. And just like Ejakpovi made the example of the Apple Watch that uses the gyroscope or whatever technology to determine if you fall, you need to trigger an SOS. And by the time you say, okay, yes, indeed I fell, but it doesn't require an SOS, that feedback is education. Now, as an entrepreneur, you can't afford to do business with common sense. That is the #1 problem of an entrepreneur. Assuming that the basic level education that brought you thus far is what you need to run a business. In fact, that's fool's paradise. Einstein said it, you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that brought you to that problem. Education is dynamic. You heard it from the two guys on the panel. These guys are students in your schools, that what they thought they knew about what they were going into, by the time they started, they realized that this is not what they thought they knew. And that is the impact of education. Education will always open your mind to new levels of approach, and it is infinite. Knowledge never ends. And it's not just about being a knowledge junkie that just takes in information. You have to process that information, that is understanding. You have to apply that information, that is relevance, that is wisdom. So it is a continuous process. And I believe you guys are doing a fantastic job offering people the opportunity to learn, unlearn, relearn every now and then. So any opportunity for education at any point is what anybody should jump at, like yesterday.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. So my next question to you now is, in today's digital landscape, sustainability has become a crucial consideration for businesses. How can entrepreneurs ensure that their ventures not only experience growth, but also maintain a long-term viability and contributes positively to society?
Okay, I'll go back to that value triangle. You have to keep your ears to the ground. Never settle, never get complacent, and never think you have arrived. Because there is always, like they said, the biggest room in the world is the room for what? Improvement. No matter how perfect a service delivery is, if you critically look at it, there will always be something you can tweak. There will always be something you can improve. And that's where feedback comes in. A business that ignores feedback is a business that cannot be sustained. So if you talk about sustainability, you must eat feedback for breakfast every now and then, whether it's positive feedback, whether it's negative feedback. You must always understand, what do you think about this? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What do you think we're going to improve about it? And oftentimes, customers are not really your best articulate source of information. They might not break it down in a way that you will understand. It is now your job, now part of those meta skills that you asked me, to be able to take all those things that they say, how be it pedestrian, how be it banal, to interpret it into feedback that you can go back to your drawing board to tweak or rework. And that's what births disruptive companies. That's what births innovative companies. That you just look at your complete business model, you strip it there, and you just you flip it on its head and say, you know what? People want this, but people really are not looking to get this by going through this road. This is what they want. So maybe if you can go through another road, they would prefer to get this. Yeah, you begin to analyze things brutally and all that. That is your journey to being relevant every moment, because you are not just targeting a generation. That generation will fade out. Now we have Gen Alpha in the kitchen. They are cooking up now. They will chase Gen Zs out of the market. We thought we've seen the shock from Gen Zs. Wait until you see the alphas coming on board. You have to be ready for them. You have to understand their interests, their behaviors. So it's a feedback-driven program. Any sustainable program is a feedback-driven program. So always look at, what can we do differently? Any company or any business that ignores feedback will die. BlackBerry, Nokia is still alive. But you get the background and make Blockbuster. Now everybody's talking Netflix. Now Netflix is not the only thing. I mean, you've got so many other streaming platforms now. But you have to look at it. Look at the hospitality industry. As much as you have upscale 3-star, 5-star hotels. You've got Airbnb that is also taking a healthy share of the pie. Look at electronic vehicles, Tesla, and the likes of them. It is based on feedback, continuous feedback, that make you keep thinking, what can we do differently to be relevant in today's age, tomorrow's age, and beyond?
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Coach Dakpo. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think this will be our last question for you tonight so that we're able to just take the questions that we've received in the chat from our audience. The question says, many aspiring entrepreneurs have great ideas, but securing funding often feels like a brick wall. Investors seem to prioritize who over what. So how can entrepreneurs develop themselves to become an attractive candidate for investment and turn business ideas to reality? So how can entrepreneurs develop themselves in a way that they would be attractive to investors to want to invest in them or invest in their business ideas and things like that?
Okay. There's a method to the madness. I admit the fact that people buy more into who than into what. And oftentimes when you go shop for funds, that might be a cutoff. So that immediately triggers the need for building a personal brand. There are 3 levels of brands. You've got the personal brand, you've got the product brand, and you've got the corporate brand. Now, personal brand is at that individual level where you begin to build yourself into a household name that people love. And this is not just about going looking for fancy colors and lovely logos and silhouette pictures. That's not what personal brand is. Personal brand speaks to your journey that has delivered proof of results. If you find in a situation whereby you are shopping for funds and you are not getting the traction that you want, go back into the kitchen and solve problems. Get proofs, get social proof, get results, get a massive portfolio of things that you've done. Nobody argues with results. It's that simple. So the more you build that, the more your name becomes synonymous with that solution that you are peddling. And it is now based on the backdrop of the portfolio of solutions that you built that are giving your personal brand some stature when the time arises. And of course, you don't just jump at the money that you're looking for. You go organically, you grow organically. You start with your MVP. What is your minimum viable product that you can build to prove that at least you can deliver on this thing? Start with that. What is it that is your low-hanging fruit that is within your means? Use that to solve problems. So by the time you're now going to shop for the big ticket, by the time you represent yourself before the board or before the investor, whoever it is, let them see you and your army of problems you've solved. Then they begin to listen to you. So because you are going back to them saying, you know what, I did this, now I want to do this. But if you go to them saying, hey, I'm John Doe, what the hell is John Doe? But if you come to the table that this is my brand and my brand is associated with this solution, that solution, this solution, that solution, there are things that even without money, you will have to invest yourself doing at the backwoods before you come to the showroom. It is inevitable. So it is when you now have that results, people cannot argue with results. Somehow, some way, someone will say, this guy has got something, because I mean, we can see what he has. So even if we can just invest a bit of this in him, then we can tell that this will go places. I hope I've been able to help in that regard.
Yes, 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 you have. Yes, you have. So I'm just going to quickly take a couple of questions that I've received on the chat, but a couple of them that I can just answer without the speakers, then I'll do that. So someone had asked what program did Ndubuisi studied. So he finished from one of our partner universities, specifically a Master's of Science in Information Technology
a specialization in IT management. That was the program he had studied. Someone is asking if there is on-ground convocation. Yes, you are able to convocate on-ground in any of the campuses, either in Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and for the DBA program, that would be in California, at Trident. Okay, so the next question, someone is asking, what's the impact of online learning on human interaction and networking? You know, people believe that, I think we'll throw this question to either, okay, Ejakpovi is still on the call. What's the impact of online learning on human interaction and networking? What are the negatives and the positives? You know, people believe that, to learn, I have to see someone and all that. You are on the program, so what's the impact? Can people still network via
Yeah, opportunities to network. It's just being able to strike a balance. Be it learning, because one, you even for example, in the DBA program, you have a discussion thread, and part of you're scored for engaging in other people's conversation. So you build, and with that you build relationships. Over time, people go, and part of the thing you do at most of the courses when you start is to have an introduction where you talk about yourself. So introduce yourself to people in the course, and with that you'll be able to understand some common threads, people playing, or even from responses you see maybe someone who's coming from same sector as you may have been to build connections. And I think it always works. I can give an example. When I did a program in Harvard, then there was a lady I met. She's a CCIO. She has about two doctorates. She's big when it comes to security and IT. It was through the program we got to talk, and even now she's like, anytime if I have to go to America for anything today, she's the first person I will call to say, Auntie me, I'm coming, because she's really senior to me. So that kind of thing, before you started from mates, you just say, oh, forget about this mate thing, because you are looking at access and you're looking at opportunities ahead. We built it. Just a week after we finished, 2 weeks after we finished our program, she was inducted to the Forbes, the IT Council, they call it, or something. So and today we're very close. We talked, there's one opportunity in the UK, there's one opportunity she was pursuing. She was like, okay, what do I think? She wants to come and do a consultancy and all that. And I helped her negotiate give her advice on a good rate to go for the deal and all that, but the cases. So you build connections, that's very key. The key, one other thing, while, like you say, while it is good in terms there are opportunities to network and build that, there's also one other factor that you cannot despise, which is it can have a toll on you, on your mental health, whether you try to despise it or not. And the best way to do it is also, one thing I've also found is I try to also identify people doing similar program within that I have personal touch with, that I can quickly call on the phone. And sometimes you need someone to even lament and share your problems with, or your frustrations with, and all that. So in itself, it may look daunting doing it online, but you have to still deliberately look out for ways to create some bit of vibe for yourself. It's like remote working too. Whether you like it or not, it will have a toll on you, but sometimes you have to still look for ways to create something. Maybe meet people, look for circles where people can stimulate you intellectually. And sometimes you can just talk where you can banter and do other things rather than just book work. So for learning, I would say it can be challenging, but there are very good ways around it. And the benefit of, for example, working with coming from Destiny Edge most times is because they tend to connect you most times with people who are in the program. Either before you apply, they tell you, you're thinking, you have doubts about how you're going to survive. Can you talk to this person? And they try to introduce you to the person, you have a conversation, and with that you build rapport. So not just the school, you also have a plug in Destiny. Amaya is always helping trying to connect people within, just so that you can have someone to talk to. And also, so the journey is not daunting. The journey you're not alone on the journey. And interestingly, like I get follow-up calls sometimes. How you doing? What's happening? So it can be, but there are a lot of protocols or tools around that help you so that you don't feel worn out, you don't feel alone. both within the course and outside the course.
Fantastic, fantastic. So there's another question here. Before I take that question, I'll just answer this one. Someone has said, how do I register for the grant? I think earlier on, Isioma had, put on the screen how you could connect with us. The very easiest way is send an email at advisors@destinydu.com. I think I would also have our numbers on the screen that you could connect with us. Okay, it's still on the screen. So you could just reach out to any of these means, whether on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, the email or the phone number, and we would get back to you. So my final question here is, I think Ejovi is going to take this question because it's about remote work. Someone is asking here, he's saying, can you elaborate about the psychological safety in workplace, either hybrid or in person? Psychological safety. Okay.
Psychological safety. Okay, let me take a spin at it instead of answering directly. Yes, when we talk about psychological safety, we talk about mental health. At the same time, there's also the issue of, if you're in I will speak about being in the UK, where you are in a very politically correct culture. I enjoy working. One of the key, beyond personal reasons that make me want to work remotely, because I want time with family and all that. One thing I love working remotely for is it helps me evade some of the biases that we are plagued with as Nigerians. We are scarred, whether we like it or not. No matter how no matter how bougie we become tomorrow, how I want to masquerade it, we are scarred. So if you're not careful, you go to the office and say certain things as a guy. Especially if you work in IT, in an IT setup in Nigeria, you go and say something that will make you sound chauvinistic. Or you will say certain things that the feminine code, what they do on Twitter is easy. This one, they will come for your life. They will come for your job. Or you will make some careless remarks that you think in our society is normal. So there's a lot of things that come in that when you think of it, then also you have pressures, even in the workplace, psychological pressures. Why? Abroad, in the UK, for example, beyond what you do in the office, social hangouts are even as more important, if not more important than the work you do in the office. So on Thursdays, they go drinking. The average person on Thursdays is where the real hangout starts. If you don't go for those team functions, in the name of team building or team drinking or whatever functions they come in, you get into, there's that trouble you get into. So what does remote work do for me? I stay away from that. I choose the ones I go for, which is also financially helpful to me. Because if you want to know how bad, it's just like when I think of my time in Nigeria, then I say, every Friday, Saturday, you go drink after work because of traffic. Saturday, you are going to weddings and all that. Sunday, you are doing this, chasing dry cleaner. The time I spend resting, problem. The money I spend when you start your car and leave the house. So when you try to balance that with some of the things people call about the psychological issues, impacts and all that, when you say mental health, stress, there are ways around it. Work, and that's why I said I always prefer not being forced to come to the office. However, going to the office once in a while, deliberately trying to create that bond, because you're able, when you meet people in person, then it is when you continue for once, the next time and the next 200 times you have to interact with them over the phone or via email, there's a personal touch to it. That's one. Secondly, like I said, there's also the need for, when you're trying to build an effective team and a highly committed or motivated team, there's a need for that team building, virtual team building exercises or in-person team building exercises. When I worked one time in one of the big fours, KPMG then point. We used to go on once in 2-3 months, we go for team building. We go axe throwing, we go karting. There are a lot of funny things that in my life you will never meet. I will never imagine me leaving my house to go go to go and start throwing axe at a sport or throwing darts. I have better things in my life, but it helps unlock a lot of things. It just helps you relax. It helps you get out of your zone. Sometimes you go and start doing quizzes. Why would I care about who wrote a movie and all that, those trivials? But those things help in a way, help you disconnect from work always, and it helps to refresh you. So, and that's when you're doing in-person or on-premise jobs. In a remote or hybrid situation, it's different. What I also will advise is if it's a pure hybrid where you don't even go to the office like that, look for people in similar situation, have friends. I go to play football on a Monday between 8 and 9. Sometimes I don't even know how to, sometimes I don't have the stamina to play. I still go there and sit down with the boys. Why? It's the time I get off your computer, because Ndubuisi said something that's very key. You may think when working in remote, you work few hours. So your boss may think you're not working, but the truth is, from the moment you open your laptop, you are caught up. Over time, you get wired with goals that if you don't deliberately put a hard stop to working, a mail around 6, a mail will just come up. Let me just answer that email. While you're answering that email, another thing, before you get up from the desk or close your computer, you realize you're already closing at 10. Meanwhile, your boss has paid for only 9 to 5 p.m. If you were in the office, you would have simply just at 5 carry your bag. Even when you go and get out. Now you don't. So it is deliberately trying to create rules, boundaries to say, for example, after 5 p.m. or 5:30, no matter who is calling, even if the Pope or President Tinubu is asking me he sends an email, I shut down. I have 2 phones. One, my work phone, I leave it in my cabin and I step out. Now, so that what I also have done now, I created a caravan, what we call caravan in Nigeria. I have a caravan in my garden. That's where I work from. This where I am right now. If not for this thing, I would have been off. Or if I'm here, if I'm here after 5, then I'm doing personal, like I'm working on my studies. So you need to have that hard stop. Discipline is about character and discipline. And the truth is, if you start the program, you will build character. You will be able to tell yourself, man, if I continue like this, you can't meet up your time. So you will be the one to tell yourself 5 o'clock and you just off this laptop and bring the second laptop for schoolwork. Then you will look at time. Also, you will meet times that you will have brain fog, that you have to just go outside, look for people. Sometimes I take a stroll, get on the gym, especially for if you do remote working, go to register in the gym. I'm lazy, I register, I hardly go. So what I do is I take a stroll. A walk can help me. I know, so for those who like exercise and are very strong and fit, the gym is a good place. Sometimes go for movies. You must not watch a movie in your house. Even if it's to go to your friend's house, get out. Be able to program yourself, that take walks, pace yourself. One other thing too to help with your stress is, no matter how wonderful your work, your experience is, set time if you work remotely, even if it's 10 minutes, take a walk. Program yourself at slow time. I just block your calendar for it and take a walk. Just go out, come back. That freshness, fresh air hitting you, it has a lot to do with just with resetting you psychologically. So at the end of the day, we owe ourselves to manage our mental health, irrespective of what the work is or family life is. If you think remote work is stressful, for those who are not married, get into marriage, have kids, everything in life, or even be single, everything in life comes with its own mental health issues. So we just need to be able to balance it, acknowledge that these things are real, look for markers, understand yourself too. Don't ever assume that you are a robot. Take time, breathe. Let the poor breathe.
Thank you so much, Ejakpovi. Thank you. That was just a succinct way to answer that question. And in a couple of minutes, thank you everyone for being on the call. We've been here for close to 2 hours. Thank you for staying till this time. Ishama is just going to give us some brief information as to how to connect with us if you're interested in taking advantage of our. You kept hearing Ejakpovi talk about the grant. You heard the Ndubuisi talk about the grant. So if it's something that you're interested in taking advantage of, so Ishama is just going to give us a rundown about it, and we'll close out for the day. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Amaya. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ejakpovi. Thank you, Kodapor. Thank you, Ndubuisi. So, like someone had asked in the comment section, is it only the tech programs that we have? So Destiny Education study grant gives us access to American Intercontinental University, like we have said before, Trident University, and a wide range of courses. So we do have the associate degree programs, which are more like the diploma programs, and it's a 17-month program. And we have bachelor degree programs in tech, we have in healthcare, we have in business administration, and the good part is we have over about 9 specializations under that specialized under the bachelor's in business administration. Okay, so interestingly, for the master's degree, we also have programs like healthcare management, education. We have the master in information technology, like we all know, with wonderful specializations. Some have been mentioned already during the conversation, like the cybersecurity. We do have data analytics, and these are degree programs that are job market friendly. Okay, so we also have doctoral degree programs. You can get access to doctoral programs, like we had discovered on the webinar. Ejakpovi is a student, or he did a DBA with Trident University through our study grant. Okay, so we have the doctorate degree programs in business administration, we have in healthcare administration, and in educational leadership. Okay, so that's basically the programs that Destiny Education offers, and all these programs are available through the grant. You, as a student, you get to pay just 10% of the entire tuition. So the links to contacting us, the channels which you could contact us for more information about our programs, contacting us, you want to know, or how do I get on board, how do I get started, you can just reach us, advisors at destinyedu.com. You can also reach us via our contact form. Just type in destinyedu.com via Google, and you're able to contact us. Our phone numbers are also provided here on the screen. We also have our social media handles, Twitter. We are Destiny Education, Destiny Edu, sorry, on Twitter, on Instagram, and Destiny Education Nigeria on Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay, so do well to contact us. Thank you, Amaya. Are you there?
Thank you so much, Ijoma, for co-moderating this webinar with me. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Until the next time, do have a pleasant evening rest. Bye for now.